Hello there. We're going to start first things off with, I think I'm going to hit this button right here.
This episode of Drive America. Jesse goes through.
Okay, it seems like that stream made a little too much for our bandwidth here. Was it really jumpy for you too? Oh look, coffee. So I know we at least have one person out there taking a look at it. Can you identify yourself? Just type in the screen on the side. Let's see, on that side it's on that side. Text, something. Say hello. Hello. Let's see, let's adjust this. Get that so the logo is nicely placed right there. That's pretty good. Excellent. So was that video playback? I was sending it out, but then also receiving it, and so it was a little jumpy on my side. Was that video playing relatively smooth for you? Here, let me play it really quick, and we'll see how smooth it is for you right here. I'll just play a quick bit of it. I won't play the whole thing. So was that jumpy or smooth? Can I get a vote on the side panel? Oh wait, side panel? Side, like there. Yeah, I guess that'll work. Okay. By the way, you notice that we had a mini Countryman. That's actually something we shot like 2 weeks ago. But I was able to get the clip into the intro, and that's the intro that's going to go with the TV pilot when we get that finally wrapped up. I just have everybody kind of giving me feedback on it right now. I have another producer taking a look at it tonight. We have a big meeting on it tomorrow, and then we do final edits, and then hopefully we should be able to premiere that next Tuesday is the plan. And we might even premiere it live using this system, which is one reason why I'm giving this a try right now. Let's see if there's any other comments. Audio was a little jumpy. Okay, I'll play with oh, I don't have to type to you guys, I'll just talk. Okay, so so the video is a little jumpy. That's okay. I can transcode it into something a little smaller, and that should feed up okay. Is this coming across right now pretty smooth? Because if this is smooth, then I can make that smooth too. If this is jumpy, and I'm constantly talking here just so you can see if there's any skips in the audio. You know, is there any kind of stuff going on? By the way, what do you think of this YouTube streaming platform? I mean, I've used, geez, pretty much everything. We did our very first live streaming event, which was the Susquehannock Trail Pro Rally back in 2008. We did that live in the middle of nowhere. What was I thinking? But it was great. We used Akamai servers. We had actually we're using the exact same software I'm using right now. That's why I have this software, is because we actually acquired it originally for that webcast. It's rather expensive stuff, but it's kind of neat because I can do like multiple cameras. in other external sources, but yeah, this is just keeping this simple right now. Oh, look, it's a little jumpy. Maybe I'll quit moving quite so much. Okay, now we're back to normal. Maybe I should put this on my bigger computer. This is my notebook right now, which I typically use for webcasting, because that way I can have one setup with all my files and then just bring it wherever, and I can webcast out of a hotel room or whatever. Oh, right. I need to set up that camera to have audio. That's right, I forgot to do that. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's see. So anyway, let's go back to our history with live webcasting here. So we started with Akamai years ago, and then we went to that was a huge headache for setup. And then we ended up using, what was that? I used Ustream a little bit, but then after Ustream, I went over to their white label service, which honestly, I've never used a white label paid service that had worse service than their free offering. That is Ustream's Watershed service. That was probably the worst customer service I've ever received in a product, and I'm still bitter to this day about that. So then at that point we went over to the what was it, the Wowza live streamer, which is actually quite cool, and that was streaming through Amazon's. Amazon has cloud service. That was a solid setup, but it was a little complicated. It wasn't cheap. Either. So it was bound to happen that eventually YouTube would allow live streaming. I mean, it was like obvious. And so here we go. This is now the first YouTube live stream test. And I'm actually pretty happy with this so far. What type of bandwidth? The bandwidth I'm on right now is I'm on Fios fiber. So that's, I think I have 1 megabit up, something like that. I'm not on the cheapest. I'm not on the most expensive. If I do a lot of live webcasting, then I can go higher. One of the holdbacks is really this notebook. This is a 2.4 gigahertz MacBook Pro, and when you're talking about doing live transcoding of data files, which this stream isn't too tough because this is just a little. Here, I'll move cameras here. You won't hear any audio for a second, but you can see. That one right there. That's just one of those little Logitechs. And then the other Logitech is that one right there, which is actually quite a lousy camera. These little guys, these little ball ones, work a little bit better. They're not as high res, but you can see the video is a lot smoother, especially in low light. Although I do have 2 studio lights going right now, with Studio Light 1, Studio Light 2. Which is kind of what you need to do, just be able to get enough light on these little things. Let's move that there. And I have, it's funny because I have like pro mics everywhere. I have a studio mic back there. I have another like handheld mic over there. And what am I using right now? But the little mic on this little guy right there. It was easy. I kind of like to have easy setups for these live things. Your common computer should be next year. Clean my office. Oh, and I used to use Flash Media Server, but since I am mostly Macs here, I never had a really modern. I haven't had a modern PC since I used to publish a PC magazine back in the early 2000s. After that, when I went into publishing and video production, I pretty much went all to Macs. So I have some older computers, and I used Flash Media Encoder back when when we were doing the live show in the studio where we had 3 cameras, a jib, and a big switcher board. That time I was actually using Flash Media Encoder, but I again prefer to keep things as simple as possible. Now I can keep my comments on this computer, but then I can't do the live. Let's see here. Sports. I need a second screen up. Yeah, and this is just a kind of a practice. We'll see. I obviously I can move my notebook over there. It's not that big of a deal. It is a notebook. Although I do have it wired in right now. I'm not using Wi-Fi because that's kind of it just doesn't work that great. Let's see here, live. You know what? For right now, I'm just going to keep the other common computer over there. And my notebook's already at like 80-90% just transcoding. What, you want Jesse to come out, or you want me to just bring in some random hot girl? Definitely doable. maybe someday I'll invite my 4-year-old daughter out. She's cute. Not hot. Yeah, she's 4. Really cute though, like painfully cute. Although I did promise that I would not be one of those dads that like parades their kids out at every opportunity, because that's just the kids always turn out weird. So yeah, my office. Now my office gets cleaned about every couple months. Usually I clean in between projects. This stack right here, this is TV pilot notes. Look at that. That's fun, isn't it? So, you know, I could organize them, but then the pile just gets remade a day later as we get these notes and these script changes and all that stuff. It's the joy of production. Let's see. Anybody have any questions on the production we do, equipment, cars we've driven lately? Lately I just did the NWAPA Mudfest, which is awesome. I was a coach here this year, so I didn't get to drive every single vehicle, but we did it out at the Dirtfish Rally School, and they built us a couple courses. One was a easy course that progressively got harder as it got more rutted throughout the day. It was really muddy out there because of the recent rainfalls. In fact, the river was flooded on the way out. And then we had a hard course. Now, the easy course was, for like your Mini Countryman, for your Kia Sorento, cars like that. And they actually did, you really can't find a bad car. I mean, the Suzuki SX4 did fine on the hard course, the easy course, up until the point that it got so rutted that it just lacked ground clearance. Even though it had pretty good ground clearance, it's anything is eventually going to run out of room. And then on the hard course, that was designed for like Land Rovers, FJ Cruiser. What else do we have on that? We have the Jeep Grand Cherokee, which actually ended up winning and was named the Northwest SUV of the year. I'm a little disappointed because I didn't actually get to drive that one. Again, I was a co-chair this year, so I didn't get to drive as many cars as I would normally like. I did take the FJ out and the Land Cruiser and the SX4 and the Mini. These were mostly, and the Outback, Subaru Outback. These were mostly to test the course and to check the course throughout the day, not really as vehicle tests. Do you play any show coverage? Shows are a little tough. I like doing events and shows, but the problem with it lately is that we've been focused heavily on the car reviews. And right now, our big thing is working towards our getting picked up for series. So, if we get picked up for series, then obviously that's going to put a crimp on our event coverage. One thing's kind of really frustrates me is that last year I shot about 15 events for Mazda. I went all over the country, shot Miata events at Lime Rock Park in Pennsylvania. I visited this big thing like at the Frank Lloyd Wright House, all over the place. And how many people have seen those videos? 0, because they have not put them out yet. It kind of bugs me. Nothing quite like producing something and then nobody seeing it. So even though you might not be seeing a lot of event videos last year, the fact is I produced more event videos last year than I've ever produced. But the problem is that you have your right hand and left hand at the corporate level, and they're not really figuring out when and where they want to put them out. Get nothing but, hey, we love the videos, but haven't seen them yet. The Global Rallycross event is about 30 minutes away from this studio, so I probably will be going out to that one. It's out at Dirtfish. In fact, while we were doing Mudfest at Dirtfish, there was a whole crew from the Global Rallycross converting and planning and doing course design and all that stuff on the premises. And what they have planned, it's going to be freaking awesome. I don't know how many cars are going to show up. I guess they only have like 3 or 4 cars registered, but those things usually it's kind of a last minute deal anyway. But that should be interesting. If you ever watched our Jessie Screams video, the one where she's kind of doing a little drive through the Dirtfish buildings, that's basically what you're going to be seeing, but at much greater speeds and with some jumps involved, which if I'm around, I'm definitely going out for that one. But the problem is, but my thing is that it's all about this TV pilot right now. Once this TV pilot gets wrapped, I mean, we have 2 shows that we've already, for the web series, that we've already recorded, we just haven't put out yet. We have a Kia Optima review, and then we also have the Mini Clubman review. And then need to get this series, this pilot, because doing a pilot for TV, it's not just doing the pilot, it's all of the associated materials. The trailer, the one sheet, and then going back and forth about 50 times before everybody agrees is perfect, and then we hand it off to the studio, and then the studio says, eh. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we have 2 questions there. We have about the Snoqualmie townfolk. I guess they're still working on permits. I don't know what the status of that is currently, but as of a week ago, they were still discussing it with the mayor. Now, the townfolk of Snoqualmie doesn't have a lot going on, especially at this time of year. In the summer, it's quite the destination. But right now, not so much. So it will be surprising if the townfolk don't support this kind of event, because this will be the only really major event that really has hit Snoqualmie in a while, other than the Thomas the Tank Engine train. And which is big for the kids, and yeah, I can support the. I mean, I can promote the show at events, but the problem is that if either I'm shooting the event or I'm promoting the show at the event. Just showing up at the event and shooting it, it's not really a opportunity to really discuss much. Anyway, and so that segues us back to the TV. And the TV field is going to be a lot more about reviews. We're going to be doing a premiere of our pilot on Tuesday next week, I think. Where actually I would like to live stream it out first, and then we can do a Q&A. And then I'll make it available video on demand, at least for a limited time. That is all dependent on studio interaction, though. I own full rights to the series and to the pilot, so I can do whatever I want with that, but I also don't want to make anything difficult for myself later on. So we'll definitely be making that available to view next week, whether it's just a live stream or if it's video on demand afterwards. I don't know how long it's going to be, but the show will be focused on new cars. Now, the new cars might interact at events, but the main focus is going to be on 3 drivers, 3 cars. And some people have been asking us, well, 3 cars, 3 drivers, that's copying Top Gear, right? Well, let's look at the options. You can either do 1 car, 1 driver, which is fine, but that gets boring after 30 minutes, and not everybody can relate to a single person. 2 cars, 2 drivers, well, now you have Battle of the Supercars, and you can end up with a tie, and ties are no fun. So then you have 3, which is what we're doing. 4, again, ties, can't do even numbers. 5, well, you end up with the mess that is 5th Gear a couple seasons ago. It's just too many people, especially in a half-hour show. Yeah, so 3 is what it is. It's kind of Top Gear-ish in that respect. But the one thing that we're trying to stay away from is 2 things. Vignetting, we're not doing that vignetting thing because everybody vignettes, and it's like the Top Gear look. And also, we're going to try to avoid the perfunctory, hyperbolic, grandiose statements of, this car reminds me of a hooker I met in Detroit. I mean, that kind of stuff. Jeremy Clarkson can get away with it because he's Jeremy Clarkson, but, honestly, we don't need 4 or 5 people doing that shtick. There's other things that can be said. I would rather the car speak for itself than have us say ridiculous things about it that, are more funny than they are useful. Oh, our focus is not on supercars. It is all on cars that are real. Granted, I would like to do a supercar show because, honestly, it's an excuse to drive a supercar. But our main focus is actually going to be on vehicles that are like real cars that you can really go out and buy. Like our first show is 3 sedans, an S4, an Acura TL, and a Mitsubishi Evolution. They're all 300 roughly horsepower cars with really advanced all-wheel drive systems. That was one of the key things, is we didn't want anything with like a lame Haldex all-wheel drive system. We wanted them to have real torque sensing vectoring systems, because otherwise it's just not fair. Also, we thought there was a possibility that we were going to run into snow along the way. We ran into a little, but it just didn't make it on camera because it was at night. And it wasn't that big of a deal. yeah, we're going to focus on real cars. Cars that we have slated are, we have off-roading down in Moab with like an FJ Cruiser and a couple other cars. The thing is to try to get 3 cars that are vaguely the same, or at least have some aspects that are similar, but aren't exactly the same. So I really don't want to do, a lot of people look at the Evo and they say, well, why don't you do the Evo versus STI? And yeah, that's fun, but I mean, my God, how many people need to answer that question? It's been answered again and again and again. So I think it's much more interesting to put it S4 versus TL, which are cars that you would not think match up, but then when you actually match them up, it gets pretty interesting. And sometimes that's more successful than others. I mean, like our Rally Art versus STI review, moderately successful. A lot of people didn't get what we were doing, and honestly, we could have explained it better. And even if we explained it to the nth degree, then some people might have eventually still not got it or thought that we were ridiculous. Yeah, we need more off-roading stuff. Absolutely. And that is kind of the thing. Top Gear exists. Top Gear USA exists. We have to acknowledge that fact. There's no sense in just doing what they're already doing. Same thing with cheap car challenges. I would love to do a cheap car challenge. However, that's kind of Top Gear's ground, and with only planning, I think we're targeting 13 shows in the first season. 13 shows, that's what, 39 cars? That's not, there's hundreds of cars out there. I don't think that, we're going to be done enough cars to really warrant having to go back to old cars. I mean, maybe in time we'll throw in something kind of weird, but I don't think you'll really see us doing hey, what you driving there? Yeah, that's a Miata. That's great. That's a 1990 Miata. That's fabulous. It's a Top Gear thing, and they're gonna, as long as that show is on the air, they'll continue to do that kind of a thing, and they do it with, they do a great job. Top Gear America, it's getting there, but they've only had one season, and they were kind of thrown together without really much, experience working together previous to the show. But I think they've done a fine job. I mean, the Alaska show finally had them actually reading a little bit off script, which is important. Our pilot, we had a script 40 pages long. We ended up using maybe a quarter of it, and most of that was just on the specs. The one thing that we wanted to seem is a little bit more spontaneous, and it was. I mean, basically, things happened and we rolled with it, and sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. Where are we looking to air the show? Our target is Discovery Channel. That's my Barbie Dreamland Wonder wish list, is to be on Discovery Channel. But we have a list of about 10 more networks that the show would be appropriate for. We have inside contacts with most of these networks, so it's not like we're just showing up at the door and knocking. And yeah, we have an agent, and he's worked with them, and it's. I mean, we're not producing this in a vacuum. We have guidelines that we're producing to. We have concept and angle, and that's all designed for the specific networks that we're presenting this to. And then hopefully we then have put together a package that's perfect for them. They get it, they look at it, they sign off, and we're good to go. But it's always a crapshoot. I mean, I think that it's appropriate. I think they should carry it, but that doesn't mean anything. Even if it's something that everybody thinks that Discovery should pick up. Who knows what else they've picked up? Maybe they've decided they're done buying car shows. No idea. The one good thing we have is that Top Gear was picked up for a second season, which means that there is interest in that genre. If that wasn't picked up for season 2, then we would pretty much be dead in the water at this point, maybe, or at least fighting an uphill battle, which I'm kind of used to anyway, so I probably would have done it anyhow. Cool. I think we're going to wrap this up right now because I got to use the bathroom. But thanks for coming by for this quick little coffee chat. I'll take a look at YouTube's archives and see how well this thing worked out. Again, appreciate it. Check our schedule, join our Facebook, all that stuff. It's just under driving sports, where we will be announcing the live stream of the pilot. Anyway, thank you very much. Ryan Douthit. See you guys later. Bye-bye.